Kingdom
Live.
Come on at it. What's hot? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it.
It's Mahomes' house. And it is good. Woo! Arrowhead man.
The Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
Let's go.
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, don't forget, real quick, click or tap that like, click or tap that subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell some Chiefs fans, help spread the word. We'd sure appreciate it. We got a good show for y'all lined up tonight. Plenty to talk about. Plenty to talk about, so we'll get to all that here pretty soon. You can follow us on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Chiefs Kingdom Live. Before we get into it, fellas, how are we doing this evening, Bo?
I'm doing good. I mean, rough week. It was Christmas. I mean, one of my favorite holidays. Had a great morning. Decided to go to the game. Had a great time at the game, but it could have turned out better. But no, I'm doing all right, man. And it is what it is, right? You got to take them as they come and move on to the next one. Nick, how you doing, man?
I'm great, man. It's been a good week. I've been off with the kiddos. We got them a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. So it's been very nostalgic, right? It's like playing Mario Kart and Super Mario with them and stuff, and just hanging out, you know. I mean, aside from that game, which you know, we will talk about, it's been a lot of fun, man. It's been a great week.
Yeah, that Mario Kart, doesn't remind me of any Mario Kart I ever played when I was a kid, but pretty wild in some of the courses and shit. But I'm doing all right. Other than just wanting to absolutely reach through my phone and slap the shit out of some people on Twitter, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
All week, man.
Just insane. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we might as well just get into it. There's not a whole lot of Chiefs news really going on right now. I mean, there's this whole Russell Wilson Broncos situation that's blowing up now, and I mean, it's kind of funny as a Chiefs fan. They were flexing on Chiefs Kingdom a couple weeks ago after their first win in 8 years against us, and then now a couple weeks later they're losing to the Patriots at home and benching their quarterback and catching a bunch of flack for benching a guy who's not very good and hasn't been very good. I mean, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts just real quick on the Broncos and the Russell Wilson situation? Nick? Kind of a circus?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a special kind of stupid to trade away the farm for an aging quarterback that, you know, had a bad season the year before. But it takes like a next level of stupid to, after, like, you know, they went 2 years, didn't make the postseason with that quarterback. And then somehow, now that they've decided that they're going to move on from him, have also turned everybody against them and look like they're the bad guy in that contract situation with what's going on online. It's really like a just super bush league everywhere. Little I don't know, bit of Schadenfreude, if you're familiar with that term from my end. Pleasure and the misfortunes of people you don't like. It was a little glimmer of funny here on my week of gloom after that Chiefs loss to the Raiders.
Bo, I mean, the Broncos, kind of a circus there going on. That it's funny. There's people saying, "Oh, this is Walmart people making a Walmart move with an NFL team." Which I thought was pretty funny. I mean, what do you think about this Russell Wilson Broncos situation? What do you think the Broncos look like? I mean, with a new quarterback, maybe. I have no idea what to think there.
The more surprising news to me that came out of the Broncos camp this year was that they actually started winning a couple games. Like, they just caught fire and got lucky in a lot of those games, and that was probably the more surprising news. I thought this was actually going to happen a lot sooner. I mean, I remember on this podcast going like, do we even face Russell Wilson? Because they started off terrible. And, I mean, it was a sign of things to come, man. And they're to me. I mean, we've said it here on the show. I didn't see them having that kind of glimmer of hope that they had this season. So I guess, yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't too surprising to say the least.
Yeah. It was a head scratching move when they decided to trade for Russell Wilson and they gave up the farm for him. And now if they get rid of him, the dead cap number and the cash guaranteed to him, along with really not having any draft picks to go out and pick a quarterback early. And then now they've gone and won enough games here in the middle of the season to not draft in the top 5 or 6 anyway, even if they did have a pick. I hope they enjoyed their Super Bowl win against the Chiefs in Week 10 or whatever that was, because that's probably going to be the only significant win they have for a long time with that franchise. So just
right.
Better think before you start talking trash when you're a bottom-feeding, cellar-dweller team in your division in the conference with a quarterback who's stealing money. But some other Chiefs kind of news. Some players going out with injury. I mean, we didn't. This wasn't even out until what was it? The day before the game. Jerick McKinnon,
right,
was on IR, ending his season. Which so much for they're saving him for the end of the season and the playoff run by not using him earlier in the year. That plan, if that actually was the plan, which I'm not convinced it was, that backfired. How big of a loss do we think losing Jerick McKinnon is, Nick?
I mean, he's definitely a threat, right? So, hey, I want to say hi to Billie Jean Queen here. This is our first X comment that I've seen come through on the platform. So glad you're watching. Welcome to the show. Yeah, look, it's a huge loss. We know that Jet is a guy that is very dangerous with the ball in his hands. I think one of the struggles we've had on offense this year is we get guys that are one-on-one with a defender and they fail to make that first guy miss, and then that prevents, big plays from happening. Jerick McKinnon is a person on our team that a couple of times has done that this year. Unfortunately, those big plays were called back because of chintzy penalties, but it's going to hurt not having him, right? I mean, he's definitely one of those players that when we need to get a dump pass or something in a crucial moment in the postseason, he's been there, and now that's going to be missing for the rest of the season. Yeah. So, wish him well in the speedy recovery. Hope he's okay. But yeah, it's going to hurt, man. It's a big loss.
Bo?
Yeah, man, big loss. We already kind of saw it in this game with him not being in there. I mean, everybody kind of knows, as Nick alluded to, the skills that he has, whether he be a good catcher out of the backfield or he's just a good runner. But one of the more underrated aspects about his game is his ability to block, and we really saw that this game. There was a lot of times where number 15 was under pressure, and I don't know how much of it had to do with the blitz package not being 100% without McKinnon in there. But I mean, to me, it showed that he wasn't there, and yeah, it kind of sucks that he's out. I mean, just surprising out of nowhere too. I guess it was something at practice or something.
Yeah, it's kind of a head scratcher to really play one week and not really hear anything about him being out, and then all of a sudden it's he's on IR. He's going to miss at least the next 4 weeks. Definitely disappointing. Brenda brings up a good point about his pass protection, not just his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Guy has a nose for the end zone, which that's just almost like an innate thing that some players seem to have. They don't have a lot of touches, but when they do get the ball, they find that pay dirt. So, significant loss. Next man up, right? I know they've got Deneric Prince and they've got LaMichael Pirine, a couple guys that they had around training camp and on the practice squad that they can bring up. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, God bless him, has filled in fairly admirably. I mean, he's only averaging, I want to say, a little under 2 yards a carry still, but he's given a little bit of a threat of catching the ball out of the backfield and making some guys miss and making at least a few plays here and there for the team, which outside of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce is sorely needed. So, yeah, unfortunate to see Jet McKinnon miss the next 4 games. He could come back for the Super Bowl or for the AFC Championship game if I'm doing the math right in my head. 2 regular season games.
Let's go.
And then 2
timing.
postseason games. So, and actually, I think this last game would have counted as a week. So, I mean, maybe you see him come back playoff time, which
Yeah.
playoff Jerick McKinnon, if you remember from last year and a couple of years ago, was a beast. So get well soon. We need you, Jet. Need you back out there on the field. Looks like the chat's pretty lively tonight. It's good to see everybody. Kevin and Billie Jean and One Man Show.
Yeah,
Saw
hey,
Nick was in there. I saw our man JT Campbell is in the chat. I would imagine Big Doug, and Laney are probably watching out there somewhere. Brenda. Don't know if I've seen John C in here yet or not, but I imagine he'll probably be popping in here at some point. Thanks for coming. Appreciate the views and swinging by. And if you got a question, or obviously feel free to throw that down in there and keep the comments coming in. Makes the show a lot more fun and entertaining than just us three schmoes. But I mean, I guess we could keep beating around the bush, or we could just get into this game. The loss.
There's no more news to talk about. No more.
Yeah,
Well, I do. We do have some news. So we still have 3 prize packs from our 500 subscriber giveaway that we have yet to do the drawing for. So we are going to do the drawing for those later on in the show. So if you're watching right now and you subscribe before we hit that mark, then stick around because you could be eligible. We got a couple of Mahomes jerseys we're going to give away. We got some barbecue spice, some T-shirts. So hang in there.
And the coveted CKL stickers.
CKL stickers. So,
which is what everybody really wants.
That's what everybody really wants.
Give the people what they want, and that's what CKL does. Give the people what
Give
they
them
want.
stickers. The people want stickers.
This loss on Christmas Day to the Las Vegas Raiders, 20-14. I don't know if a more aggravating loss in the Patrick Mahomes era. Anyway, maybe the AFC Championship game in the blown lead against the Bengals. At least the Chiefs played well for a half in that game and gave you something to cheer for the first 30 minutes.
Did we make any bets? I'm pretty sure you guys turned down all the hot sauce this year.
Scotty
Nick. Nick's talking about the bet we had about his Browns Bengals.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me Joe Burrow was going to get hurt halfway through the season, I probably wouldn't have made that bet. But I don't know if it's over yet. I don't know that the Bengals are completely out of finishing ahead of the Browns, but if they do, I'm a man of my word. I'll pay up, so no worries.
What did you guys bet? What was the bet for you guys?
The bet was I bet him that the Bengals would finish ahead of the Browns in the division.
No, right. What's on the line? What are the stakes? I guess
$100. So
ooh,
maybe Nick will be making some money here. So
he thinks it's over.
He's saying it's over.
Yeah, Nick, if you would have said at the beginning of the year that the Browns were going to have Joe Flacco starting the last month of the season, I don't think you would have made that bet. So you're probably going to win, but I don't know if I'd be.
You would have doubled your bet,
rubbing it in because sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Which, if you play fantasy football like I do, you know to be true.
Says he doesn't want to take money.
Oh no, there was money on the line.
I'm
going to pay up. I'm not going to welch on my bet here. So anyway,
You can send him $100 worth of Apollo hot sauce.
there you go. No, I mean if I lose a bet, I pay up. So it's all good. No worries. Back to this game. Look, there's a myriad of issues with the team that we've seen kind of on and off throughout the season.
Yeah.
It all kind of came to a head in this game, and it results in a loss to a team that didn't score an offensive touchdown, that didn't complete a pass in the final 3 quarters of the game.
That's so unreal. Those stats blow my mind.
I know, Nick, we'll get to you next here. Bo, being at the game, what was that atmosphere like? What was it, just like a complete gut punch? I mean, the Chiefs, they scored a touchdown to get the lead there 7-6 briefly.
Yeah, dude. No, I mean, it was a great morning, right? A little cold, a little windy, but Christmas morning, kind of expected it, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Christmas, cold and windy.
It was not a bad day for Christmas in Kansas City. So
No, it actually wasn't too cold. Like I wasn't kicking ice off my seats to sit down, right? Like it was tolerable to be out there. And like you said, they took the lead. I mean, there was surprisingly way more people there than I thought there was going to be. I mean, the whole upper section was filled. The yellow seats were pretty much filled. I was just like, oh, all right, Chiefs Kingdom showing up on Christmas. Walked in right for the national anthem. So like I mean, I left a little late, but didn't get to tailgate, but walked in perfect timing, right? Got to my seats right as his home of the Chiefs. And so it was just like, oh, this couldn't have started off better. We got here and like this is perfect. And boy, oh boy, did it turn around. But still, dude, those stats that you mentioned earlier, dude, just what a game that just fell apart. I mean, I guess the Chiefs were in a gift giving mood because it felt like we just gave them that game, right? Like their offense scored 2 field goals. Like that's it, right? Otherwise, we gave them the rest of their points. And so I guess we were just in that holiday spirit. And here you go, guys. Merry Christmas. But I mean, other than that, it was great. A great time at the game, but brutal.
Yeah, looks like Billie Jean was at the game. I don't know. Being Christmas, they kept showing like the pan out shots of the stadium. It did not look like it was close to full. Was it?
It wasn't like packed. No, like I've definitely seen it fuller, but I mean, it was surprisingly like it wasn't empty by any means. Yeah. People were saying come on, Arrowhead, show up. And I was actually surprised how many people showed up there.
Yeah. Nick, overall thoughts on the game before we get into the details and kind of break down player performances and individual plays and.
Yeah, so we've been talking for the last several weeks now about how whenever the Chiefs lose, it just seems like they beat themselves.
Yeah.
And this was like the pinnacle of the Chiefs beating themselves, right? Literally consecutive offensive plays, giving up defensive touchdowns. So, I mean, it was like you hear the term snake bit. They just seem snake bit on offense, and it just seems like nothing's going right for them right now. So it's tough, man. It was tough to watch. It was frustrating to watch. You know, Scotty came over. We had my parents and my in-laws over watching the game, and it was definitely a bummer on Christmas. I saw Big Doug commented earlier that Mahomes, I guess when he had tears coming down his face after the game, leaving the field. I didn't see that, but yeah, it was a tough way to go on Christmas. And it just really just felt like that quintessential, like the Chiefs just blowing the game, right? I mean, like we could talk about their offense didn't really do much of anything until that final drive when they had to close it out, and they did. Defense finally caved there right at the end at the exact wrong time, but it was just an awful, horrible, no good, bad day for the Chiefs offense.
No good.
Yeah, definitely frustrating. It started off like so many of these Chiefs games where the offense comes out, they're stagnant. I want to say they had negative yardage in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They're struggling.
Yeah, like minus 18 or something like that.
They're struggling to move the ball. The opponent is somewhat moving the ball. Defense is keeping them in there, though, keeping them out of the end zone, keeping them to field goals. And next thing you know, the Chiefs have a touchdown drive, and somehow they're winning the game 7-6. And you're like, well, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
We put a post out on X that was like, and we're in the lead now. And then from there, they just continued to absolutely shoot themselves in the foot. I don't know what the proper term for what happened.
That's like an understatement.
That game after they were able to get the lead was. I felt pretty confident when the Chiefs scored that touchdown and went up 7-6. Like, okay, here we go. This is where they start getting it together. And even though they've played terrible for a quarter, they have the lead and they're winning. How confident were you guys after that first touchdown to go up 7-6, Bo?
No, yeah, I'm super confident. They were moving the ball. They looked. I mean, they don't look as lethal as they have in years past, obviously, right? But this team can move the ball. They can run it. Hats off to CEH stepping up in this game or in these past couple of games with the injuries we've seen in that running back room. He's been tearing it up, and like we're the first to criticize that guy, so I'm going to be the first one to give him flowers on this show, like stepping up, and they're moving it fine. It's just like the stuff we've mentioned all season long, dude. The penalties, the basics, like they do that, they're just getting wrong. Like this game, it just seemed like everything was off. Like shooting themselves in the foot was like an understatement. Like I'm saying, like it just seemed, if anything could go wrong, it did go wrong. They were having trouble getting guys out on time. Like just being there live, you could just see the mismanagement, how uncomfortable everybody was. Nobody really felt like set, and I didn't see anybody like having like a lot of fun. You know, I mean, I don't know if that was attributed to like it being Christmas Day, nobody wanted to be there, but it just, everybody seemed off and kind of down the entire time, man. Even warm-ups didn't even seem as peppy as they normally were. But I saw videos of warm-ups. I wasn't there for warm-ups, but yeah.
Nick, how are you feeling after the Chiefs went up 7-6?
Yeah, it felt like the previous Raiders game this year where we were down, and even down by less this time, took the commanding lead. Really, it was pretty obvious that their offense wasn't going to have anything that was going to be productive against our defense. And so at that point, I really kind of felt like that was enough points to win almost, right? I mean, you know, I just
It
maybe
was actually.
yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, their offense didn't score again, right? So I mean that was the feeling. You're just like, okay, like they're gonna come through, they're gonna pull through, and they're gonna win. And then obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah.
How confident were you, Scotty? Were you feeling good?
Yeah, I was feeling good. I thought, okay, it's Christmas Day. Here we go. You could definitely tell the crowd was energized by that touchdown from Pacheco. It was one of those, I'm not going to call it necessarily a trick play. It was just a direct snap to the running back where he then did like a sweep around to the outside and ran it in. But you could hear the crowd on TV was back into it, right? It was loud. Okay, here you go. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong against the Chiefs offensively. They've shot themselves in the foot. They're behind on total yards, and they have the lead. And here's where they kind of pile it on, and the Raiders really aren't going to be able to do much and make a comeback here. And then the Chiefs get the ball, and we put out there on the Chiefs X account, to me anyway, the play where the game was lost was the decision to snap the ball to Isaiah Pacheco and then have Patrick Mahomes take a handoff down inside your own, what was it, the 10-yard line, I want to say?
12 or something.
11. So
yeah,
he's taking a handoff from the running back inside the 10-yard line. It goes disastrously, which I don't know how many times they practiced that play or what it was supposed to happen. But
not that. I guarantee you, not that.
It's such a mind-blowing play call and design.
It really is.
On so many different levels. First of all, how many times have we just sat there and begged this team or talked about they just won't do a quarterback sneak because Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. They're worried about him getting hurt because he had the injury against Denver a few years ago doing the sneak. All these other teams are doing the sneak, and it's almost like you watch the New Heights podcast, right? The 92 percenters comes from that play works 92% of the time. But you'll hand it off to him in the backfield like he's a running back.
Right.
What?
With the protection he was getting that day too.
And, predictably, the handoff from the running back to the quarterback goes poorly. Ball ends up on the field. Raiders defensive lineman picks it up, runs it in for a touchdown. That just, you can tell, sucked the life out of the team and out of the stadium. And now you're sitting there looking at it, and you just had the momentum, and you gave it right back to him. Nick, that play call, what do you think they're calling a play like that? What's behind that? What do you think was supposed to happen? I don't think there's any way it's actually they're supposed to hand the ball off to Patrick and have him, run around off tackle?
I think that what they're trying to do there was like a reverse RPO, right? I mean, typically it goes to Patrick and then he either decides to pull the ball and throw it or, hand it off to Pacheco. I think Pacheco and Mahomes are supposed to be figuring out whether Pacheco is going to run or he was going to hand it off to Mahomes and Mahomes is going to throw it. But, you're putting somebody in a position where they're doing something that they don't typically do in a game situation, which is Pacheco deciding whether he's going to keep the ball or not. There's obviously confusion there, and it caused a fumble. I'm less upset with the play call, and I'm more upset with that play call on that spot of the field. You're putting,
right, dude.
people people in a position where they're not
Yeah.
doing what their job typically is, and you're doing it inside your own 20-yard line, inside the your own red zone, and it was just a really head scratcher of a play, man. But I think that they're doing that because other things aren't working, and I mean, nothing else was working on offense. It looked like the Raiders knew exactly what the Chiefs were going to do on almost every play. And I think it's because they don't have any threat downfield. We can say that Mahomes said he was looking for the big play downfield, but man, they're throwing the ball sideways every play. And I think that once hey, these guys are not going to throw the ball deep, right? We've talked about it with the QB sneak. Once you know that on 3rd and 4th and short, they're not going to do the QB sneak, it frees you up to do a lot of other things. When you know that even if they throw it deep, MVS isn't going to catch the ball, and you can just sit on those short routes, that's how you're able to jump a route and get a pick six. That's how you're able to keep the Chiefs to negative yardage in the first quarter. It's just because if they don't throw the ball sideways, then it's an incompletion or a sack in that game. So I think they're just trying to get some kind of spark on offense. They had that Pacheco trick play, go for a touchdown. Let's be honest. They always try to clown the Raiders in some way with some trick play. And they're probably like, hey, this is our Christmas day. It's going to be a present to Chiefs fans. And it ended up being a present for the Raiders. So,
yeah, but I mean, if he's supposed to hand it off to Patrick and he throws it, they can't throw the ball downfield. So is that trying to suck the defense in or something to get somebody open downfield? I don't mean nobody on the Raiders defense watched Patrick Mahomes take a handoff and think he's going to actually run like a running back, do they? I mean, so it's just so confusing. I said on so many different levels. Bo, what are your thoughts on the play? Why do you think they called that play? What do you think the play's supposed to look like? I don't even know.
Right. I mean, so I've gone back. I mean, I was there live, watched it happen, but like it was just so baffling that like you kind of forget like all the details. Like, wait, what just happened there? I even text you guys like, what was that? I know they're showing replays, right? But if I recall correctly, there was somebody else running back behind Patrick the other way too. And I think he was going to either try to like pitch it back to him or something like that, like a double reverse almost. And like, I don't know. But look, I'm all for those trick plays, right? I love them. Rose Bowl parade in the Super Bowl, the 1924 play we saw earlier this year, the ring around the rosy snow globe against the Raiders, right? Like I'm all for that. But what those plays all have in common is that they were on that end of the field, not our end of the field, right? It was in the red zone. It's on the 5-yard line, like because that right there, right? Like the potential for those plays to go wrong is so great, and then when they do, that's what happens. And why they were doing it, I mean, I have to agree with Nick, man. I didn't see anything else working. I mean, they were double bracketing Kelsey all day. That guy, as much of a feel for the game as that guy has, and as good as he is, like when you have 2-3 guys on you at all times, you're not getting open. And when nobody else can catch the ball, which we saw again, so many drops happen. I mean, even the great TMFK dropped one. I mean, so it's just one of those games for everybody. But the receiving corps has kind of lived up to its name all the past season, just dropping balls and everything. And it's just, yeah, I think you got to start reaching for the bottom of the barrel. Like, what else we got here? And unfortunately, they called that one, and it ended up the way it did. So.
Yeah, and I mean it backfired spectacularly. Not just that it ends up with a touchdown for the Raiders. Now you're behind again after you just were able to seize the lead, even though you've been playing poorly on offense, got the momentum back. But I mean, to me, the pick six doesn't happen if that play doesn't happen, right? I mean, you're not in that part of the field. You don't have that score. Maybe you have a different play call. Maybe you don't even call the play, right, to the pass to Justin Watson there on the sideline that turns into the pick six. It was like a chain reaction almost, it felt like a chain of events that play call set in motion what happened on the very next offensive play that turns into a pick six. And at that point, it just – if you thought all the air was out of the sails before, it was definitely out of the sails after that one. I mean,
like the umbrella turning it the other way.
What was the reaction in the crowd and at the stadium after the pick six?
I think everybody collectively gasped, dude. I mean, I just remember being there just like, really? Like, oh, I mean, dude, I don't know. When you're there, things happen, I don't know, like slower sometimes than faster other times. But that play happened so slow. Like you kind of saw it coming before it happened, right? As soon as you saw Patrick decide to make that throw, you're just kind of like, oh no. Oh no, it just didn't feel right, man. And like to your point, like all the wind is already out of the sails already. There was nothing more deflating than having a pick six after going up, but then to just have it immediately or a fumble and then have a pick six happen with the next offensive play, man. I mean, I think, yeah, it just killed any hope that the players had. You can see it, man. They held their heads down, and it's kind of unfortunate, right? Because like you'd like to see players like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce kind of like we were talking about the accountability thing last week. Yeah, like hold your receivers accountable, but still got to be a leader, man. You can't be losing your cool every week and throwing your helmet and shit like that. I mean, as much as I like to see the competitiveness and the fire and the aggression and I like to see that kind of passion, I want to see some better leadership out of those guys. And I think they know that too, but yeah, dude, that just killed all the energy in the stadium completely. And yeah, not a good look.
I mean, Nick, I was with you obviously watching the game, when it happened. And I mean, I never think the Chiefs are out of a game. How can you when you've got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback? But I just remember thinking like, man, like that, they ain't coming back from that. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yeah, it didn't feel good.
I think it was impossible, but man, just talk about going from confident that the worm had turned and that the Chiefs are going to win the game to back to just thinking they're going to be lucky to win this game now, right? I mean, was that how you were feeling watching the game?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I felt like the game was definitely over, but it definitely that deficit after, the way that we had played for most of the game at that point, it didn't feel positive, right? It didn't feel like the Chiefs were in the right headspace. Bo, you talked about it. It just didn't feel like the Chiefs were in the right headspace to come back because we've seen this team get down before and come back. Yeah. I mean, we've seen them come back from 14 down against the Raiders earlier this year. We saw them come down. They didn't end up winning the game, but they came back from 14 down to Buffalo. I mean, we've seen this team come back from that, but it didn't feel like they had the right energy and it didn't feel like they had the right mindset at that point in time. When you just body language is big, right? You see the body language, you see, Mahomes had a very, I don't know, distraught look on his face. His body language when he was abandoning some of the pockets and stuff, you could tell that he just didn't feel like he had any time to throw the ball. It definitely felt like they were reeling at that point. Definitely
so. But the team that had come back and won these other games before, they had playmakers outside of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
The team just doesn't have playmakers. We've talked about this last year, right? When they got rid of Tyreek Hill, they were having these long, sustained drives for scores, but that's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to have to sit out there and count on, all right, well, we got to go out there and we got to have 3 or 4 or 5 drives of 9, 10, 11, 12 plays.
Yeah. And then do that for a season.
To score touchdowns. So I kind of feel like the pendulum has swung back, right? Like last year, they probably overachieved on offense with what they had weapons-wise because Patrick Mahomes is a magician and he's the Grim Reaper and goes out there and makes plays to win the game. I think you're seeing this year what happens when you're constantly having to move the ball 3, 4, 5 yards at a time and convert 2 or 3 or 4 third downs, on a drive, or back-to-back drives where you have to convert multiple third downs, penalties, turnovers, fumbles, things like that just become that much more likely. Talking about the pick six, to me, this receiving core, which we've talked about over and over this year, but I mean, where are these guys? Where's MVS at? Another game where he has 0 catches for 0 yards and 0 touchdowns.
Oh, it's over 60 snaps, right?
Right.
Yeah, like 70% of the snaps he was out there for.
He had an offsides penalty, which I've seen some replays and some people showing that maybe he actually wasn't offsides. I don't know if I really saw a definitive angle that could prove that or not. It's hard to tell because Creed Humphrey's still doing this thing where he moves the ball off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, dude, and not
And so
helping our
maybe it's
guys
making
at
it
all.
maybe it's making it look like guys are offsides. I don't quite know, but Patrick has no trust in MVS. Tony and Moore are now out, right? So now you've got guys that haven't played this year
Yeah.
very much at all, and Richie James and Justin Ross. Rashee Rice had a nice day, but I mean, he had a couple of plays there that were bad. The offensive line wasn't blocking. There was so much bad about this game. And then you see the reaction after the game, and a lot of people are bashing Patrick Mahomes for the loss. And you're just like, were you not watching the game? The guy was running and taking a beating to get first downs and keep drives alive. He got sacked, 4 or 5 times in that game? And hell, if it would have been 80% of the starting quarterbacks in this league, I mean, other tthan Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, he would have got sacked 10 times in that game.
Yeah. Throw Easton
receivers
Stick back there. We would have saw a record.
Receivers are quitting on plays while Patrick's rolling out to the sideline, keeping the play alive. Guys are dropping passes in the end zone.
Right.
Look, Patrick Mahomes is not the problem with this team right now. That guy was playing hero ball out there, man. I mean, he was taking a beating on some of those runs, lowering the shoulder because he needed to get the first downs. Unbelievable to me that you can watch that game and be like, oh, Patrick played like crap. Like, really?
Yeah, that's
Literally, everybody else on the team, Travis Kelce had a couple of nice plays. I think Rashee Rice had a couple okay plays, but that drive there where they went for it on fourth down. I mean, he dropped the ball at the 2 or 3 yard line on third down, and then was it a great or a perfect pass from Mahomes on 4th and goal to Rice? No, but I mean, I've seen Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, and in the past Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Cooper Kupp and these true number one wide receivers make a play and get the ball, right? Go one-on-one, beat your guy. Patrick ain't going to make a perfect throw every time. He just had no help out there.
Yeah, dude, the hate that Patrick's getting is clearly a bad take, right? When you're hitting guys in the hands, the face mask, the numbers in stride, and they're not catching the ball, you can't really place the blame on him. Did he have a great, awesome game? I'm not going to say he played super spectacular, but dude, he was the only one trying, like you said, taking hits, making runs, extending plays. We've kind of beat around the bush about the O-line. The O-line, you want to talk about not having trust in your receivers, dude. I couldn't imagine being a quarterback in the NFL having these 300-pound professional athletes coming at you full speed, trying to take your head off, and you can't get your feet set because guys can't. I don't know what the deal is, block for you. Dude, the Raiders were sending 3 guys and getting pressure to Mahomes, making him get out of a pocket of 5. That right there to me, just if your quarterback has no trust in his protection, it's already going to be a rough day as it is, let alone not having trust in if your receiver is going to be running the right route, let alone if he's going to catch the ball, So, I mean, I can never shift the blame to Mahomes, even if he has a bad game. When I see him hitting guys in the numbers in the end zone and they're not catching the ball, I'm not blaming him for that whatsoever, man. I dude, as much as I've been giving the receiving core as much, I've been super optimistic all season. No, man, they're young. They're a young core. They just need time. I was thinking by this time something would have changed. And now I'm thinking the fact that they're so young is more of a hindrance than it's helping completely, right? Just the inexperience. And as you mentioned, Moore and Tony are gone. So the 2 guys that do have some experience are now out. And so the only true veterans, MVS and Kelce out there. And I don't think these guys are looking up to MVS oh yeah, that's who we got to listen to. So you only kind of have Kelce, and when Kelce's losing his cool, man, you don't have these guys that have been in that position to keep their cool anymore, right? They're just going to feed off that energy. So I just feel it was just a bad look and feel overall. But no blame on Mahomes whatsoever.
Yeah, Brenda's bringing up another point that I've seen a lot on X and heard people talk about lately. Where are these wide open guys he's not throwing the ball to? I mean, The guy's a two-time defending. I mean, he's the defending MVP. He's won the MVP twice. He's leading the league in total yards, rushing and passing combined. Guys are not open. And I know I see lots of screenshots and still shots of, oh, look, Justin Ross is open. Well, Patrick's already thrown the ball. And so the defender is peeled off of Justin Ross to go over to where Patrick's thrown the ball to. I don't think he's forgot how to throw the ball to open guys. And even when he does, MVS drops it, right? I mean, Tony's had 2 drops. The one that was that turned into the pick 6 against the Lions. He's hit Justin Watson on 4th down and 25 in the hands in the Eagles game, and he dropped it. He hit Noah Gray in the end zone for a touchdown this week that got dropped. Sky Moore's dropped his fair share of passes. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has just forgotten how to play football and just is seeing open guys and not throwing the ball to him. I'm not seeing guys open downfield. And I realize you could take like a screenshot or you can see a guy when he looks like he's open, but I mean, if the play's not designed to go to that side of the field, Patrick Mahomes isn't even looking over there. Or
Right.
Max Crosby is coming off the line unblocked.
Exactly.
Okay, the guy might be open, but Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he don't have time to throw the ball to the
You
guy.
see Max Crosby?
Comment, right?
That dude's a scary dude.
It's a good comment. It felt like when we lost to the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. That's what that game, it did remind me of that. Like, you could tell that Patrick just wasn't comfortable, and he felt like, okay, even when there was a clean pocket, because he's getting hurried so much that he felt like he had to bail, right? So,
No, I mean, you saw that. Like, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I was watching some like the all 22, and even live, I see what people were saying, that there's some open receivers. But like, I guarantee you, Richie James is not his first look, right? Like, especially when Rice and Kelsey are there. And as we just kind of clearly pointed out, he didn't have time that entire game to go to his third look, let alone maybe his second look. When you have Max Crosby and these guys coming at you full bore, and they were getting to him damn near every play. Like, yeah, you don't have time to make all your progressions and sit there and just take your time and look good, man. Like, and that's what kind of sucks, is Mahomes is so known for extending the plays and being magical, but again, dude, we got such young guys. I don't feel like they know what to do in that situation. They haven't been there, and their heads just they weren't in the right space.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes says all the right things after the game, but I mean, I don't believe it any of the time where Patrick Mahomes takes all the blame. I mean, he took the blame for the drop by MVS against the Eagles that would have won the game. Where he says, I could have thrown that ball a little shorter and made it an easier catch for him. It hit him right in the freaking hands. So Patrick's never going to, after the game, come out and blame his receivers or say, oh, these guys can't get open, or these freaking guys can't catch the ball. He's never going to say that.
That's what we're for.
He's paid to take the blame. He's paid well enough to take the blame.
Right. I mean, I'm going to take the side of the 2-time MVP and think that he hasn't forgotten how to play football and is just forgotten or decided not to throw the ball to open guys to run around and get sacked and run forward. Nick, I mean, what did you see out of Patrick in this game?
I haven't watched the all 22, so I don't know if he was passing up a lot of open guys for 5 or 6 yard gains, but I think that, like, what we're expecting is that Patrick has to play perfect because nobody else is playing good, right? I mean, so when he's playing good, they're playing so bad that it's just everything falls apart. And he has to play perfect. He has to be able to abandon the pocket, run around, and find a guy that's open on the other side of the field. Because even if you watch that Justin Watson pick 6 that he threw, like, Watson was the open guy, and if he comes back to the ball, it's a completion.
Right.
I mean, when he goes to throw the ball, Watson has separation. The defender is literally turned around, right? I mean, his back is facing where Patrick's throwing the ball to, and Watson just keeps drifting backwards to the point where the guy can basically run the route better than him and pick it off. So, I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't look. You can go back with probably every performance from every quarterback and say that he's going to miss open guys, because it's definitely going to happen. But I think that, you know, when he leads the team in rushing yards, right, and when he has over 200 yards passing, right, and I think that, and then you've got guys that are 60 snaps and 0 targets, I mean, that's the problem. And
0 catches.
I don't know, like Scott, we kind of argued about this, and maybe this may be a lively discussion. Man, I feel like we are hitting the same slumps that we hit when we had Matt Nagy before as our offensive coordinator, and we had Alex Smith as a quarterback, and we would go on these tears where we like would just have like dog shit for offensive outputs. I mean, do you remember when it was like, oh well, Andy Reid's going to give up play calling, right? And it's like, oh, well, who was calling these plays? And Reed was like, hey, well, you know, he called all the good ones. I called all the bad ones, right? Because he's pissed off and he didn't want the question. Like, I know that, you know, we don't want to sit there and we all know that Andy Reid is the major magician here. But, I mean, changing offensive coordinators, and then we go from number 1 overall to that Raiders game.
18th.
Seems like the coach, to me, is part of it. I don't know. I mean, I know you disagree, but I mean, I'm not seeing the output from the offense, and the major change is the coordinator, right?
I mean, to me, like the major change is guys not catching the ball and not getting open. I mean, Matt Nagy doesn't call any of the plays. Okay. Yeah. Andy Reid is the play caller. The offensive coordinator on the Chiefs is a figurehead. Basically, they might sit in there and draw things up together and work together, you know, and come up with a game plan or maybe schemes or whatnot. But I mean, if MVS could just catch the damn ball, how much better does the offense look? If Sky Moore could catch the ball, if Kadarius Toney could catch the ball, this team is sitting here with what's the record right now? I can't even think what the record is right now. 8-6? Is that what the record is?
9-6.
9-6 right now. I mean, this team could be sitting there with 2 losses right now, and the offense is humming along. And so I don't know. I just don't. When Matt Nagy was here, we didn't have. I mean, the guys like we have now with Alex Smith. Alex Smith wasn't Patrick Mahomes. He couldn't thread the needle deep downfield to guys. I know once Tyreek Hill got here, and we brought in. Trying to think of the other guy's name. They were able to stretch the field, and Alex Smith was the number 1 rated passer in his last year, and Eric Bieniemy came in. But to me, man, I've always said it's 75% players, 25% coaching, right? I mean, what did Andy Reid's playoff record look like before he had Patrick Mahomes?
With the Chiefs, yeah.
Eric Bieniemy
1-5.
Or the Washington Commanders out there lighting up the scoreboard right now and tearing up the league offensively? No. So I just don't. I have a hard time blaming the offensive coordinator when he doesn't call the plays. And on top of that, they don't have playmakers on this team at the wide receiver position right now. They don't have anybody.
But the things they're not doing to me are the things that coaches need to help keep reminding players of doing, like coming back to the ball on your route, like MVS, like that almost pick that was overturned. MVS just quit on the play while Patrick is still running. I mean, he would have been open right there on the sideline. I mean, to me, that's
Matt
stuff
Nagy needs
where
to remind him to not quit on plays.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think he's doing. I mean, have you ever worked somewhere where you were in charge or manage people, or even if you don't manage people, you're any kind of like leadership or where you have to delegate things out? Are you training? Even if you're just training a new person, even if you're not their boss, and you show someone something over and over and over, and they just ain't getting it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm always going to put more blame and more praise on the players than the coaches. Well,
no, I think that's completely fair, man. And I think you guys you're hitting kind of the same nail, just with 2 different hammers, essentially. I think the truth lies somewhere right in the middle there, right? Because while you're completely right, it's up to the players to execute. There is something about the scheme and what they're putting together for the players to execute, and whether why these players can't understand where they need to be or the routes they're running, right, or like the timing of everything. I think that does kind of go back to the coaches, like, hey man, this is what we're drawing up. This is what you're doing. This is how we're going to fix it. Right. Like the catching, we've talked about that all day. Like, I don't know how you coach a player to actually catch the ball when it's hitting him in the hands. Right. That to me is more a mental thing. And that's why I'll go with Scott. Like the players just got to execute at that point. But there is something noticeable. I'm not a fan to sit here and be like, oh yeah, we need EB back, or like he was the answer, or like Matt Nagy's the problem, right? But there is something noticeably different this year to this offense and the way it's just it's approaching every game. Like I've one of my biggest complaints, I feel like, in our text thread has been like, man, there's just some bad play calling here. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, as much as we criticize 1st and 10 runs up the middle, like, what are we doing running the ball up the middle on 1st and 10 and only getting like a yard at most every time? Like, right? Like, there's like, I mean, that's like the smallest example, but like trick plays on the 12 and everything like this. There's something to be said about like what the coaching staff is doing to this team right now. I don't feel like they're helping these guys be successful in that sense, but at the same time, to be successful, all you got to do is catch the ball. So like I said, I feel like you guys are like just right there a little bit on the, like, it's the truth somewhere right there in the middle, I feel like.
Brendan brings up a good point. People keep bringing up this thing. The only thing that's changed from last year is Juju Smith-Schuster. Well, that's not exactly true. First of all, I underappreciated
New
Juju.
O-line.
Apparently, Juju was a legit wide receiver, an NFL wide receiver that you could count on catching the ball on 3rd down and moving the chains and running the right routes and being where he's supposed to be and being where Patrick expected him to be at. Tony, everybody acts like Tony was on the team all of last year. We traded for Tony basically at the trade deadline, right? He wasn't here all year last year, dropping.
He was hurt
and tipping balls up for pick sixes. So this wide receiving core is a lot more different than it was last year. And to me, like the same people I see making the argument, well, nothing's changed at wide receiver and we won the Super Bowl. Well, nothing's changed at quarterback and we won the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like there's a lack of playmakers on this team. There's nobody out there that catches the ball deep downfield for a big bomb that stretches the defense and opens things up for Travis Kelce and opens things up for the running game. There's no threat of that at all. There's no guys catching, and I know people will say, oh, Patrick was a yak merchant, haters on Twitter and Bills fans and Bengals fans. And look at this pass where he threw it to Tyreek Hill. It was an 8-yard pass, and he ran it for 50 yards. Well, yeah, but you need some of that. I mean, you're not going to be able to throw every pass 35 yards downfield and be a bomb. You need guys that can catch the ball in space, make guys miss, and make life a little bit easier on the quarterback.
Yeah.
And these last 2 years, they've lost 2 big pieces in Juju and Tyreek Hill, and it's hurt.
I think they saw a lot more in MVS than what he was actually bringing to the table, obviously, this year, right? Like they were hoping that he was going to be, yeah, arguably, right? Like a little bit more consistent anyway. But then, like, you know, when they brought in Hardman, I thought they were like, all right, now we're going to bring in a weapon, like somebody like you have to account for, right? Like he might not be the best player, but like he can beat you deep, right? And like I think they were hoping with that with Hardman and MVS, and they just didn't get it. And defenses are wise to that now, right? They don't have to worry about the deep threat, and it's just making their life easier. So
yeah,
I don't know.
McCole Hardman was getting open downfield and getting yards last year and running jet sweeps and scoring 3 touchdowns against the 49ers, right? I mean, this wide receiving core is a lot more different than, oh, well, they just lost Juju. No, they brought in Tony, who has sucked this year. They bumped Sky Moore up from like the 3rd or 4th option to the number 2 or number 3 option. MVS went from being the 3rd option behind Travis Kelce and Juju Smith to he's supposed to battle to be, you know, for that top wide receiver spot. It's a lot more different than I feel like a lot of people are saying it is online from last year.
I think the reason they're saying it's the same is because there's no Tyreek. They're like, you guys just don't have Tyreek. Who do you have, right? No Tyreek. That's who it is. That's why they're saying it's the same. But like we see how different it is.
Right. With all that said, how are we feeling about? I mean, the defense played outstanding. I was laughing partly out of real, actual, true humor, and part of it out of frustration and part of it out of sadness. When the Chiefs finally got that touchdown to make it a 1-score game, and then you're like, okay, defense, just get one more stop here. We'll get the ball back. And then they give up like 80 yards rushing on 2 plays, and the Raiders kneel the clock out, and you're like, like you could play like that all game, and then you get trampled when the offense finally comes along and does something and gets within striking distance, and you just give up a 30-yard and then it was like, what, a 60 and a 20-yard run, back-to-back plays or 2 out of 3 plays there that killed
Yeah,
the
they
team.
weren't short runs, that's for sure.
Defense was getting pressure on I can't even think of the guy's name. That's how bad he is. The Raiders quarterback, Chris Jones, looked like for whatever reason he decided to show up and play this week and was in the backfield and was dominating and getting sacks. The defense kind of has been what they've been all year, right? I mean, gave you a chance to win the game, aside from the final drive, I guess. But, Nick, the defense, I mean, that could be our saving grace, you think, coming down the stretch here? Or, I mean, what did you see out of them?
Yeah, I mean, I know that they gave up that last drive, but, man, they held the opposing offense to 2 field goals. And I didn't know that stat until just on this show right now, that they didn't complete a pass in the final 3 quarters of the game. Is that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing Christmas stuff with the family, so I haven't been on too active on the socials and looking up the statistics like I normally am. But yeah, I mean, that's a championship caliber defense. You know, I mean, that's a defense that will travel in come January and will keep you in games. I mean, think about how poorly the offense played, how hilariously bad they were in specific situations, giving up 2 different touchdowns on consecutive plays, negative yards in the first quarter, right? And we are still there at the end of the game against a division opponent that put up 63 points the week before. And we're still in a position to go down and win the game. So I just don't I'm not that worried, right? Like, I mean, the defense is gonna keep us in games, and they are good enough to win in the postseason with that defense is. So O'Connell, that's right. Stidham's the Broncos backup. So yeah, I just I mean, it was impressive. And it, like you said, I mean, it was just like, okay, it's just, sometimes it's just not your day, right? Sometimes things just go bad, right? The Batman quote. Yeah. I mean, like, sometimes things just go bad. And that was one of those days where things just went bad. Kudos to the Raiders. I think some of this is, I mean, the Raiders hadn't beat the Chiefs in 3 years. The Broncos hadn't beat the Chiefs in 8 years. I mean, you know, eventually, like, the division opponents you play twice a year, eventually they are going to beat you. And I think that we just had some of those kind of all fall in the same year, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing but confidence in the defense going forward.
Before the game, Adam Schefter put out a post that said, with a win today, the Chiefs can get their X number of, I think, 16th division title, which would break the 4-way tie between the teams in the division. And over that span, the Chiefs were 40-6 against the division opponents. I mean, you think about that. We've seen a couple of comments here, and rightfully so, about it's a division game, and division teams always play you tough, and those are the toughest games. The Chiefs were won 40 of the last 46 against the AFC West going into that game on Monday, which is just mind-boggling to think about, dominating your division opponents like that.
Mm-hmm.
While we're talking about the defense, L'Jarius Sneed, that dude is a straight up
the man,
dog,
revelation.
Look, he got hurt and went into the tent, right? And then he comes back out and is just freaking locking down Davante Adams. I mean, you would have thought he was part of Davante's jersey. I was thinking, damn, when did Davante Adams change his number to 38? Because he was all over him. Even after he left the game and went into the blue tent and got evaluated for injury or whatever, he comes back out. That guy, they need to pay L'Jarius Sneed in this offseason. That guy needs to come back and be on the Chiefs. Bo, what did you see? What stood out to you? Anything in particular about the defense?
I mean, yeah, you guys kind of already alluded to it. Chris Jones showing up finally. I feel like I've been really critical of him. Rightly so, with him at the beginning of the season being like, I'm going to win Defensive Player of the Year, most sacks this year, blah, blah, blah.
I texted him and said, Bo's going to be at the game today, Chris. And he goes,
Yeah,
oh,
show
shit,
up.
I better-
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He gave me the finger gun and a wink right before. But no, I mean, I was glad somebody came to play this game because nobody else did. Well, Tommy Townsend kind of came to play. We'll mention that here in a minute. But
Yeah.
the defense, dude, what I really appreciated about watching this defense is like knowing that, yeah, this defense is legit. Because I mean, like all season, you're just kind of wondering, like, all right. I mean, you saw a couple players go down in really key positions, and they still they would bend, but like that bend don't break mentality. I know it's like an old quote, but man, that's what this defense is. And now that we're back to like full strength, essentially, it's what's up. Like we have a championship defense, and us personally, we've been saying it for years on this show now for 3 years. Give Patrick Mahomes a championship defense, and let's see what he can do. And man, that's some humble pie we're eating, right? Dude, you know what? No, you know what this really feels like? This feels like on a season scale, it feels like one game where we're down 24-0, and you're like, man, there's no hope right now. Like, I don't know what we got to do to change everything, right? Yeah. But like the Chiefs have been in this position before. And like I'm mentioning it on more like a season scale versus a game, but like I feel like they can turn this around and just shock everybody and come back 24-0 on this season. And just everybody be like, oh yeah, why? The amount of hate they're getting right now, like I can't tell you how many times I've heard, are the Chiefs broken this week? Pat McAfee has said it. He straight up said the Chiefs suck, dude. Like he just straight up said that to millions of people, right? Like if the Chiefs ever needed bulletin board material, they have it. They have it right now. Like go out, listen to everybody this week. You guys are done. You're broken. You're washed up. Now's the time to get this shit together. Everybody knows you got a good defense, but I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but dude, let's go. Let's turn this shit around. I feel like we can do this.
Made a kind of tongue-in-cheek joke on X. It's okay. Can we trade the good defense back for the good offense? It's been fun, but Patrick Mahomes, he needs weapons more than he needs a defense, it looks like. So, look, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they're never out of it. I mean, we watch these teams right now. The Bills, they just barely beat Easton Stick and the Chargers. I know the Ravens just beat the 49ers, but they needed overtime at home to beat the Rams. That team's beatable. There are no absolute. I mean, the Dolphins needed 5 field goals, one of them being a last-second field goal to beat the Cowboys at home, who were the absolute worst road team in the NFL this year. The Cowboys were. So it's still there for the taking.
Yeah.
And anybody that's jumping ship and saying they're done with this team, or, oh, I'm going to look forward to next year and I just don't expect them to win this year. I'm surprised. I'll be pleasantly surprised or happy if they do, but not distraught if they don't. Man, you're kind of showing you just showed up 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Definitely.
This team, as long as you've got Patrick Mahomes, as long as you got Travis Kelce, you got a chance. And I still say he's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's leading the league in total yardage with guys like number 11 and Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, and the viewer count will probably plummet dramatically. But Isaiah Pacheco is a nice running back. He's not a top 10 running back in the NFL. Do you guys think he's a top 10 running back? I mean, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor,
I would say he's
Saquon
sneaking
Barkley,
in that 10.
If he's top 10, he's like 9 or 10, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
I
would say he's
David
sneaking in that top 10.
Saquon Barkley.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I don't know about Derrick Henry at this point. Maybe a
little older, but still
better than Isaiah Pacheco.
I'm thinking if you have him on our team, who you playing over Pacheco? I'd play Henry over Pacheco.
Yeah, most likely. So look, it's one of those things where guys just need to do their job. Patrick Mahomes played his ass off in that game.
Execute.
If any of the other guys on the line would have just blocked a little bit better or done a little bit more at their job, and guys would have caught the ball and got open and fought for the ball, and went one-on-one and made plays and beat the defender instead of getting beat by the defender, then they win that game. And I think outside of the Broncos game, which we lost, what was that game, 24-9 or something? Every game has been a close game where really mistakes made by wide receivers or guys, running backs, fumbling, whatnot. I mean, cost themselves the game, right?
Yeah, penalties have been our Achilles heel all season, man. Just dumb penalties too. Not even things like in the moment of play, right? Like offsides or lining up wrong or just dumb plays that just boil down to basics like you're talking about.
Right. I see our man Nick is in here talking about Joe Flacco. That clock about to strike midnight here pretty soon, Nick. I hate to tell you.
I mean,
good
he
for
also
Joe,
threw a
though.
couple of
Good
pretty
for
bad
him.
picks that I saw when I watched him play. I mean,
He's knocking off some rust, Nick. You gotta throw those in there.
Yeah, no.
Good for him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
dude.
no, look, the
Yeah, I'm
Browns
happy
have had
for
a
Nick,
tough
too,
season.
but
They thought they were going to have Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson, and they got Joe Flacco instead. So,
Yeah.
so
like,
I'm happy that they're doing well, right?
We got Dean in the comments here. Good to see you. Thanks for swinging by. Look, the Chiefs were.
I'd be all right with Buffalo first round.
The Chiefs
Yeah.
were
Let's go.
The Chiefs were a Kadarius 20-foot offsides away from beating the Bills. Really, I mean, the Bills, they went out there and barely beat the Chargers with Easton Stick at quarterback.
Yeah.
You look at this.
Another one of those games that we beat ourselves, man. You know what I mean? They didn't necessarily beat us. They didn't even score in the second half. Like Bills.
I know a lot of people are talking about this Bengals game coming up Sunday being tough, and they've got Jamar Chase. They just got thrashed by Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, at quarterback, and the Steelers, who are not a good team. They got their doors blown off by the Steelers. So, cheers to you, Nick. I'm not hating on your Browns, man. I mean, I root for the Browns. I would say I know what it's like. I've kind of felt your pain before we got Patrick Mahomes, but even you all had it worse than the Chiefs somehow.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Those years. Now, obviously, if the Browns play the Chiefs in the playoffs, I'm not going to be wishing them any well wishes there. But I'm happy for Browns fans. You all have suffered a lot, so for a guy to come in like Joe Flacco and play as well as he has after you lost Deshaun Watson, and that's a feel good story for the Browns and Browns fans. But I just can't see Joe Flacco keeping this up.
I agree with Kevin right there. I could see the Browns destroying the Jags and giving Baltimore a hell of a game. Not necessarily beating Baltimore, but ruffling the feathers.
Yeah, they definitely could. So, speaking of the Bengals, they are coming to town New Year's Eve this Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium. Coming off, I don't know if that wasn't as embarrassing of a loss as the Chiefs had on Christmas Day against the Raiders. At least the Bengals were on the road, I guess, losing to the Steelers. But Jake Browning did not look good in this game. The Chiefs' defense, they've shown that they've got secondary. They've got the guys that can cover. So Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, just lock those guys down and make somebody else beat you, right?
Is Jamar Chase playing? I know he didn't play last week. I think he has like something up with his shoulder or something.
I thought I saw him out there.
Maybe the chat can help us out there.
Did he get hurt against the Steelers? I saw him in the Steelers game, I'm pretty sure.
No, he was on my fantasy team and he was out.
Oh, was he out?
I did not play him.
Man, I sure thought I saw him out there catching passes.
I'm not sure what happened to him, but
he'll be back for the Chiefs game. I mean, you can almost guarantee that's going to happen. I mean, there's no way that guy's going to miss the Chiefs game. But
what I read is he didn't practice today. He was doing rehab training.
Okay, well, there you go. How are we feeling about this game coming up against the Bengals, Bo?
I feel good, man. As good as I can feel coming off that game. I'm in the position now to where I'm just like, it's a toss up. I mean, I know we're favored by 7 or 8 points in most betting websites and everything, but My confidence to cover the spread just isn't great. My confidence to win just is good, but scoring points right now just seems to be something of a mystery for this team. So if Jamar Chase doesn't play, I'm really liking our chances here, because like with our defense right now, the only thing I feel like we need to sharpen up there is obviously our run D. So like, I mean, that's as simple as, positioning, you getting your head right, and that's where I feel like these coaches can come in and show them some film, like, hey, you were here, you need to be here in this position, kind of thing. So I feel like that's easy. And they have a pretty good running back in Joe Mixon. It's just whether or not their line's healthy or not, and I think their line's a little banged up too. But their defense, I mean, God, I mean, if you could ever ask for a game right now where like you're playing like a banged up defense with holes, this is it, right? Like our defense, our offense has an opportunity to go out there and like kind of right some wrongs, really fix some of the things that's been broken here in this game. And I'd really like to see them step up and just, whether it's running 4-yard routes instead of 7-yard routes, or running more like cross patterns, or like I've always been a proponent of trying to get Patrick on the run, doing some old fashioned bootlegs, just doing something to mix it up a little bit, but just getting back some old fashioned football where like you don't have to run such complex offenses and get these guys confused. Get him in there, get him in the game, get him having fun, and then start mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah. Nick, how do you feel about the game against the Bengals?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about this. Man, the NFL did not get this game at this point in the season that they were hoping to get when they put on the schedule. You know what I mean? They were sitting
I
there
don't think they
thinking
anticipated this.
Burrow versus Mahomes is probably going to, maybe be for the 1 seed. And instead they're getting Jake Browning versus a Chiefs offense that has been reeling now for some time, and just lost to the Raiders with an interim head coach.
I mean, this is the last 2 AFC Championship games, right? Chiefs Bengals.
Yeah, Chiefs Bengals. Yeah. So, look, I put it in my name here, man. I'm still rolling with my homie. But you stole my thunder a little bit, because I had this whole deal prepared. Look, did Chiefs Kingdom learn nothing from the 24-0 Houston game, the Bills 13-second game, 2 Super Bowls where we were down 2 scores? I mean, and walked away with Lombardi's. Like, I go online and I see everybody acting like the season ended when we lost to the Raiders.
Right.
And like, this team has the talent. I know that you say we don't have the playmakers, Scott. Like, I argue we have people that are just not making the plays, right? And so, like, they're getting there, they're getting in position, they're dropping the ball, they're not finishing their route right. Like, all of this stuff is correctable. And I'm not going to give up on them. Do what, Scotty?
Is that correctable this late in the year?
Yes, it's always correct. Yeah, yeah. So I feel like until the clock strikes 0 and the season's over, like, I'm not counting this team out at all. And so I feel confident in this game. I mean, we don't have to score that many points to win. That's the thing. Like, we've given up what, 27 points is the most we've given up all year. I think
so.
Yeah.
And I mean, no, that was only one game where we gave up that many points. I mean, like, if we score 21 or more points, we're probably going to win this game. So the bar is not that high for the offense. And all they really need to do is just limit the mistakes. As you get towards the end of the year here, you're going to see, like, you started to see it a little bit against the Raiders. Like, Mahomes is going to be taking more chances later in the year where he is abandoning instead of running, or he is sliding instead of trying to go for an extra few yards. Like, you're going to see that start to be more like where he's going to be taking the chances because it's the end of the year. We got to win the division. We got to win this playoff game. And that just adds another, like, level to the game that he can bring. So I feel good about this game. I feel confident, right? I mean, like, how can we not feel confident about going up against the Bengals with a backup quarterback and Jamar Chase? Even if he plays, he's got a sprained shoulder. Thanks for who was that put that? Jay. Thanks, Jay, for putting that in the chat. So yeah, man, I feel good, man. I know that it was a terrible game, but I don't think you're going to see the Chiefs look like that again. I mean,
yeah. I feel good about this game. I'm pretty confident in the Chiefs, although I was confident and the Chiefs last 2 weeks against the Raiders and the Bills. And so look, and I'd be last two because they played they beat the Patriots in between there. But,
yeah, Brenda, any win is a division clinch for us.
Yep. It's down to the magic numbers one. So I think it's if the Raiders lose one or if the Chiefs win one of these next two, then the division is clinched and it's over. The Jaguars are fading. Like I said, the Dolphins just struggled to beat the Cowboys at home. The Ravens have looked vulnerable at times. Chiefs have kind of had their number and have played the Ravens really well the last handful of years, aside from Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbling the ball in field goal range. I think we've won 5 straight against that team. So the defense, it gives you a shot week in and week out. It's a good point, Nick. They don't need to go out and score 40 points every week. Playoff time comes around. I don't know. I think you're probably going to see the defense playing some of these better offenses, probably getting into those 20s maybe. Although last year they held for the Super Bowl, they held all the opponents to 20 or less, right? They gave up 20 against the Jags, or maybe it was 20 and 20, right? They gave up 20 against the Jaguars, or 17 against the Jags and 20 against the Bengals, something like that.
Man, I don't remember.
So it's definitely doable. I'm never quitting on this team. What do we think the key to the game against the Bengals is? What's the key to winning this game, Nick?
Turnovers.
Yeah.
Turnovers, man. I mean, that's how many games have we lost because of turnovers? At least 3, right?
Pretty much all of them. Right?
More than that. I think when we've lost the turnover battle, we're like 3 and 5 or something when we have the higher turnover number.
The Kelsey fumble against the Eagles, Tony pick 6, the Raiders game this past weekend. Those are the ones that popped.
Broncos game had 5 turnovers.
Yeah, 5 turnovers in that game. So look, self-inflicted wounds. If we can protect the football, we're gonna win the game. If we have 0 turnovers, I don't think there's any world where the Bengals beat us this week.
Bo, you agree with Nick, or you got a different key to the game, or something else you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I do agree with Nick. I mean, if we can eliminate turnovers and penalties, right? Like, I feel like that will go a long way in our favor. But for me, dude, after this last game, I just really hope our run defense sharpens up, man. Like, if that's the new blueprint to beat this team, is you just don't have to throw the ball, you just run it on them. Like, we might be in some trouble because I feel like our line should be good enough to stop runners, right? Like, we have some beasts up front. So I think that's going to be our key to stopping this offense, especially if Jamar Chase isn't playing. They're going to try to rely on Mixon and their other running back. I can't try to blank on his name right now, but yeah, see that run defense sharpen up a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much with Nick here. I think turnovers is going to be the key to the game, winning the turnover battle. The defense, I will say, for as well as they've played this year, they really have not been generating a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. No, they haven't.
So, help your offense out. When your offense is struggling, more possessions is a good thing, right? Give them more opportunities to get in a rhythm. So, to me, I mean, I guess you could probably throw turnovers into this category too. But to me, it's going to be the mistakes.
Yeah.
I have a hard time saying limit the penalties because when I watch football, it seems to me like I see both teams holding and interfering and jumping off sides and doing all. It's just which team they decide to call it on more. You know what I'm saying? So I have a hard time saying limit the penalties, man. I mean, obviously false start, you jump well before the ball is snapped. That's something that you could work on and clean up. But catching the ball. Catch the damn ball. Beat your man. If you're a wide receiver,
just catch the ball.
Don't let the defender outwork you at the goal line. Don't let him jump your route. Be solid in your routes. Fight for the ball.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think turnovers is like 1A for if turnovers is 1A, 1B to me is unforced errors, dropping passes, quitting on plays, things like that.
Sure.
Penalties that you can control. I mean, watch that Raiders game. They called defensive pass interference on, was that Snead, I want to say, along the sideline and gave him a first down.
Yeah.
And then literally the next play, they showed the Raiders wide receiver was doing the same thing to the defender that he did to him. Had his hand, was holding him on his shoulder pad while they were kind of hand fighting going down the field. They don't call anything. So I don't know, like, the rhyme or reason of why referees decide to make calls when they do. I'm sure you could probably do things to help limit the number of penalties you get. But again, I feel like it's kind of like, who are they going to call more penalties on today? You watch them sit there and hold Chris Jones the daylight out of him, right? So, yeah, mistakes and turnovers. Pearson is in here watching on X. Thanks for swinging by. Looks like we got quite a few new people here in the chat. It's good to have you all. Make sure you click like and subscribe. We do giveaways and we do things we post on here and through the channel. So if you want to make sure you get on that, subscribe and like the videos.
Speaking of giveaways, should we get into one?
Well, you want to do some score predictions and then do some
Yeah, we'll do
giveaways?
score predictions first, I think.
All right.
Predictions and then spin the wheel. What do you think?
I was like giving away shit. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I was like, dude, do you guys want my house? You can have my house. I don't even own it. I just rent it, but you can have it.
I got the signed
Come
Jamal
stay
Charles
at my
jersey
house.
I can give away. So,
Yeah, you have a generous spirit, Bo, and we love that about you, man.
that's
I don't
an
think you
inside
heard
joke.
you, Scott.
I don't think Nick heard me either. So,
What'd you say?
I've got a signed Jamal Charles jersey we could probably give away to one of the viewers.
Yeah, I
an
mean,
inside
George,
joke.
like, you could throw it in the trash if you want.
That was my present from the family, Nick and mom and dad and the nieces. There was a signed Jamal Charles jersey, which I'm psyched about getting up in the man cave down here. JC,
It's
man,
that white
we could have
jersey
Jamal
too.
Charles
Your
and
favorite
Patrick
jersey is
Mahomes.
the white one, right?
Yep, man. If we could just have Jamal Charles and Patrick Mahomes on the same team for 1 year, oh my god.
Oh my
Anyway,
god,
I
insane.
I digress. Score predictions. I'll go first because I usually go last, and you guys get to poach all the good scores. If you're watching, make sure you throw your score prediction up here in the chat. Man, I want to say the Chiefs score 30 points in this game so bad, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
I've said it every week.
But so I'm going 29-13 Chiefs.
Woo.
I'm not going to pick 30.
29.
I'm going to pick 29.
Price is right, Nick. Go 30.
Nick?
30 to 20.
30 to 20.
Did
Okay.
you pick 29 to what'd you pick? 29 to 19?
29 to 16.
16. Oh, okay. 30 to 20. I'll go 30. No, I don't think they're going to get 20 points. I thought I was trying to go one up on you and I misheard you. I'm going to go 30 to 14. 30 to 14, man. I think we're going to kick the shit out of them. At least I hope we are. I mean,
Me and
I've been
Brenda
known to
got
be overly
mine nailed.
optimistic before, though. So
I'm going with my girl Brenda. 24-20 Chiefs. I don't see a score in 30, and man, I don't know. I don't know about this one. Every time I'm super optimistic, we don't do well. So I'm going to be really pessimistic and hope we just kick the shit out of them. So
I should have asked first before I made my score prediction. Are you going to the game Sunday, Bo?
To be determined. To be determined.
Bo's a game time decision for going to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like Billie Jean,
limited to
31-13. We like that
it's
score.
questionable with a bank account.
She's going with the 31 there. So is race car working Sunday?
No. Her birthday is Monday, so she has Sunday off.
All right.
All right.
I don't know. We got more scores. I wasn't looking at the thing there.
I got Kevin in here with a 27 to 14. I think I put everybody else's up.
Right.
Somebody had one super early that I saw. I'm going back through the chat right now. Look for it.
Still optimistic. 13-10. That's a hell of a prediction there.
Chiefs defense scores 3 safeties. I like it. I'll take it.
Hey, man, we'll take any points
All right.
we can get, right?
Yeah, Chiefs are 8-point favorites. Well, maybe it's gone to 7.
Yeah. Looks like our man Jay He's got his score prediction 2017, another close one.
All right.
Yeah,
Jay,
I mean,
17.
everybody's a little bit closer on these scores than they were last week. Deservedly so.
I mean, do we think the Bengals are a lot better than the Raiders?
I didn't think the Raiders were good. I know that they'd put up 60 points, but man, I thought that was more of like the Chargers falling apart than the Raiders figuring something out.
That was the
I still
Chargers.
feel like that's right.
That was the Chargers quitting to get their coach fired, is what that was.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
That's funny.
Before we get to the draw, spinning the wheel here, I saw someone put on there today on X. It said, going from biting kneecaps to winning division titles, the Lions coach. And I was thinking just how much hell that guy caught and how many people were calling him a clown for those comments while sitting there at the same time, basically anointing Brandon Staley as the next genius analytics coach, and Dan Campbell's winning divisions, and
First
Brandon
one ever
Staley
for the Lions. They never won their division before.
They had won their division, but not the NFC North. It was the NFC
Yeah, they hadn't
Central.
won the North. That's what I mean.
Right. So
Since the
Hey,
realignment.
kudos to the Lions. They came in. They were game week one, the Chiefs, and beat us in Arrowhead. So another thing I think that factors into this Bengals game is if the Chiefs lose this game Sunday, they'll have a losing record at home this year. I don't think there's any way in the hell Patrick Mahomes lets that happen. He is fully aware that they've lost 4 games at home this year. I guarantee it. You're going to get pissed off, Petty Pat. Now, whether or not anybody will block or catch passes for him, that's to be determined. But I think you see him come out and be a ball of fire.
I need counting fingers, Mahomes. How many touchdowns was that?
Got a man, Daniel.
What position do I get drafted?
Yeah, we threw it up there.
Daniel, Chiefs by 3.
Take it. That's been. I mean, that's a good prediction. That's been the difference in these two teams last 3 or 4 times they played, right? 4 times.
If you want to throw an actual score prediction down in there, we'll mark it down. And we've kind of been doing a contest every week where if someone actually gets the score correct, we're going to send them a prize pack. So if you want to get in on that, make sure you follow us on X, or you can put it in the comments here, and we'll make sure we go back and watch and note it. You guys want to spin the wheel and give away some stuff here?
Yeah,
Let's
first let's go through. I'll
push the
show what we got
button.
here. So we got a. This is prize pack number 3 from our 500 subscriber giveaway for YouTube. We've got our 3-time Super Bowl champions T-shirt here.
That's a nice shirt.
That's my favorite shirt, actually, the favorite one that I've seen since the last year. And we've got a Super Bowl LBII Chiefs bottle opener here. It's metal. And then we've got some Jack Stack barbecue KC all-purpose seasoning.
There you go.
That's the real
KC steak
prize
is
right
good that
there.
they have. This is my favorite Jack Stack seasoning, so that's why I bought that one.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Jack Stack probably has the best burn ins in Kansas City.
You think so?
Yeah, their burn-ins are good.
They are next level.
Phenomenal, right?
They're actually burn-ins, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're charred and like crunchy sometimes, almost like ash on the end burned.
The flavor they have though are just unreal. Oh my god.
Jack Stack
Barbecue
burned
done
the
right.
bomb.
All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel.
Jack Stack, if you're looking for a partner, we're available and we
Now,
love your season.
I want to be clear on the rules. We do have some new viewers here, so you had to be a subscriber before we hit 500, and you had to submit a screenshot showing you're subbed on YouTube. That's was the rules for this giveaway, and we had 5 prize packs. We're gonna have some more coming up, so if you're not eligible for this one, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll be doing some future giveaways here. So I'm gonna go ahead and present. All right.
Let's give stuff away.
Can y'all see here?
Yep.
I'm blind.
All right, man. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. Spin it.
Push the button for the prize pack. T-shirt, bottle opener, Jack Stack.
Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
I thought it stopped my
Wendy
face card.
Odell.
Hey yo! Congratulations,
All right, Wendy.
Oh, yeah, was it close?
Congratulations.
All right.
Winner.
So let me go ahead and close it. Oh, I need to take Wendy off of the list here.
You know,
Can feel all the
if you
eyes
notice,
on me
Nick,
on.
after you spin,
Cheers.
when it has a winner, you can just select that person who's not eligible on the next spin.
I know, man, but I just don't trust it. All right, let me write this down here.
Yeah.
Odell. All right, cool. All right, next one. We have. Oh, shit. All right, we got the Patrick Mahomes LVII stitch jersey here.
Come on. My name's on the wheel, right?
So,
My name's on the wheel for that one.
we got that guy. I have some Burrowhead My Ass confetti. This one actually says "Take the bum ass back to Cincinnati" from Frank Clark after we won the AFC Championship game. Scotty and I were at that game. We collected a bunch of confetti.
God.
And so you get some confetti there from the AFC Championship win. And this one, you've actually got the Jack Stack Steak seasoning.
There you go.
And all of our winners will also get
great
the
seasoning.
CKL sticker.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and a CKL sticker. All these are going to come with some CKL stickers here. So.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, so we'll add to the stage here.
For the Mahomes, for a Mahomes jersey. We have
A
All
Mahomes
right.
jersey.
All right, you call it when you want me to press the button. Can you guys see the screen?
Bo can call it.
Push the button. I like the music.
Right.
No way.
Hey,
Chippy.
My man Shippy. All right. Ships, way to go.
He's
bro.
not on tonight. He's all right.
He's
He won the
usually on,
jersey,
yeah.
so congratulations, Shippy.
Congrats, Ship.
All
That's
right.
nice. Man. That's a
We're
score
hooking
right there.
Shippy up for Christmas.
Yeah, that's
He
a
won,
score right there.
All right.
I mean, even though it's a fengshui.com or whatever that website jersey is, it's still pretty dope.
Fengshui.com.
Whatever that website's called, I can't even think of the name of it. But
all right.
It's not from Rally House, but it's still legit. You can get barbecue sauce all over these.
So for the final prize pack giveaway from our 500 subscriber special, we've got AFC Championship confetti. Know your role and shut your mouth. Travis Kelce. I would have put Gia Jabroni on there, but I ran out of space. We've got another Patrick Mahomes jersey stitched on. And with this guy, we've got the all-purpose barbecue seasoning from Cowtown, which is Joe's. So,
right.
which is
Which is good shit.
I didn't
That's
give
good.
Joe's a lot of love in my earlier days, but man, that place, it's freaking awesome. So, if you haven't been to Joe's, go to Joe's. All right.
So Joe's got
Scotty,
the ribs.
Final one. I'll
You
let
won't
you
be
go ahead and
disappointed.
call it when to start.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Spin it. What are we waiting for?
Let's spin it.
Thank you, everybody who subscribed. We really appreciate it. This is for you guys.
Yeah. And if you're new watching, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're following us on social media stuff so you can get in on the next
Holly.
Holly. Nice. Our girl
Holly.
Awesome. Holly's
Holly.
very, very kind to
All
us on the X. So I'm sure
Congratulations,
she's
Holly.
like that very, very much. Okay. Well, we got some shipping to do here.
Congratulations,
fellas.
all the
We're gonna
winners.
get
Thanks,
some-
everyone.
and get all this stuff put together and get some addresses. We got some work to do. So
I'll take out a second
Um,
mortgage on my house for the shipping for all this stuff
Right.
we gave away. So
if it fits, it ships, right? At the post office, maybe that's the best way to go. But can't thank everybody enough for watching and subscribing and following us on X. We're starting to get a lot of followers on there. We got to 500 subscribers, which is a milestone to some monetization, which all these giveaways, I'm not saying this for sympathy or to brag or anything, but I mean, these are all out of our own pocket. We're not making any money on the show. We're just working
no,
jobs
this is all
like
pro
everybody
bono.
else. So we just can't thank you
You guys
all
aren't making money?
for
That's
watching
weird.
and
Bo's
subscribing.
like, no, I'm getting paid. What are you talking about?
Bo's getting paid?
Yeah, that's weird. You guys aren't making money at this?
John, great question. What can you guys do? Look, just tell people you know that may be interested in watching. Subscribers is a big thing. What we're actually needing right now is viewing hours, right? So just watching the show is huge. I don't know, like to get monetized on YouTube, you really need three things. You need to be posting, you need a certain amount of subscribers, and you need a certain amount of view hours. We've got the subscribers and we've got the posts and the videos. We just don't have the view hours. So look, just watch our show, share our clips with your friends. Just that's it really. It's word of mouth, right? We're not like there's services that you can use where you can grow your show faster. We're trying to do it organically. We want to do it the right way. And so it's really just going to be word of mouth. Just if you know Chiefs fans, just share some clips, get them to watch, and that's it, man.
Yeah, I mean,
John C., you do more than enough, my man. You're amazing.
Yeah, no, John C's a man. But yeah, if you got friends that are Chiefs fans, just copy. You can click on the bottom of the link on YouTube right there. It says share. You click, copy the link, or you can automatically text the link to someone and say, "Hey, man, these guys check this out. They just gave away these jerseys," or "Hey, these guys, if you subscribe to their channel, they do giveaways. They have good content or whatever." Anything you can do to help spread the word, we sure appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't have ties to any kind of like media companies or former players on the show or anything like that. So we're doing this. We like to think of ourselves as like the show by the fans for the fans.
For sure.
I like it.
Just awesome that we've gotten as far as we have, and we're looking forward to growing more and hooking some more Chiefs Kingdom up. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, real quick, I kind of mentioned it. Tommy Townsend's dart on that fake punt, man. My man Jay Watt. I just got to give them some roses real quick because that was a hell of a play.
Thank you, Pearson. Happy New Year to you. That's what I was going to say. But go ahead, Bill.
No, yeah, just that play, man, like completely unexpected. I mean, I know that's when you want to draw the fake punt, right? Is when nobody's really expecting it. I don't think anybody in that stadium was expecting it. And hell of a throw by Tommy, dude. Just sent it right to the sideline, put it perfectly in a spot where only Jay Watt could get it. Great catch, slid inbounds, converted fourth down, kept a drive alive. Yeah, cheers to those guys.
Yep. Nick, any last words, anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Happy New Year to everybody. I'm sure I'll talk to Race Car or be able to text you guys, but happy birthday to Race Car. Hope it's a good one. Hope you have fun. Hope you have a lot of fun. Don't get any big trouble.
We're gonna Uber and everything. We'll be good.
We appreciate you guys. I'm stoked to get this stuff sent out to everybody. I'm really happy we finally hit the 500 sub mark. It's been a good year, man. It's been a good year.
It has. And if you're new and you haven't clicked like or subscribed yet, that's the other thing you can do too. We get like hundreds of views on this thing and we get 10 or 12 likes. So making sure you click like helps the algorithm and helps put it on other people's feeds and suggestions as well. So, again, we're just so thankful for all of our friends and all of our fans and all of our viewers here.
Completely.
We do the best we can, and we enjoy it and we love giving stuff away, and we just love talking ball with other Chiefs fans. And we're living in the golden years, right, of Chiefs Kingdom here. I mean, there's someday we'll look back on these days and be like, these are the good old days. So don't wait until they're gone to appreciate them, right? We live in the good days.
What was it like when you saw Mahomes pass to Kelsey, Dad? Like,
right,
yeah. Well, let me tell you.
I was at the 13-second game.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you will. It'll be played someday 30 years down the road, and we'll be reminiscent about these days. So enjoy them while they're here. Don't take them for granted. We don't take any of you all for granted, and we certainly don't take the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes for granted. So
love everybody in the chat. Sorry, Scott. Love everybody in the chat. Got to give Brenda a special shout out. She promotes us like nobody else. Really, I see you online every day. Thank you so much, Brenda. And then I got to say happy birthday to Race Car before I get out of here. So happy birthday, love. Let's go have some fun.
Happy birthday to Race Car. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, for liking, for subscribing. We I don't know if we're going to do another live watch or not, maybe on one of these games coming up. That was fun.
Maybe.
So,
who knows?
Maybe swing by sometime. If a game's on, check the channel, see if we got a live watch going. Everybody in the chat, thanks again so much for watching. Congratulations to our winners. Chiefs play the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium for a chance for a record 16th AFC West title
Let's
and a
go.
berth in the playoffs. Let's go, Chiefs!
Let's go, Chiefs!